Touchdown Bears! I am Dexter the Big Bear. Let's go for another Bears news. The 2023 NFL Draft is less than 2 weeks away, and the Chicago Bears are finalizing their draft board. General Manager Ryan Poles has some urgent needs to address at multiple positions, including offensive tackle, defensive tackle, edge rusher, and cornerback. But he also made it clear that necessity won't dictate not choosing the best player available in another position. With the Bears ranked 9th overall, there will be many of the best candidates available and some of the best at their respective positions. But which direction will Chicago go in? Here is a list of the ideal prospects for the Bears at all positions pre-draft. Quarterback, Hendon Hooker, Tennessee. The Bears made it clear they're all in on Justin Fields this season when they traded the first overall pick to the Panthers. They also upgraded at backup quarterback with P.J. Walker. But that doesn't mean hiring a quarterback should be out of the question. Hendon Hooker would be a good player to develop behind Fields. While Hooker's torn ACL was believed to have crippled his draft stock, there are some who believe that most teams have Hooker as the QB3 in this class behind Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud. Hooker may not be on the line for Chicago, but he would be a dream addition to the roster. Running back, Bijan Robinson, Texas. Chicago lost David Montgomery in free agency, but they added Dante Foreman and Travis Homer to complete the back running room with Khalil Herbert. Bijan Robinson is the best running back in this draft class and could very well be a generational talent. He is likely to be in play for the Bears at number 9, but they have more pressing needs than running back. But the idea of a backfield with Fields and Robinson is a dream scenario for Chicago's offense. Wide receiver, Jackson Smith-Njigba, Ohio State. The Bears updated their wide receiver pool this offseason with the acquisition of DJ Moore in the Panthers' number 1 pick trade. Now Chicago has a trio of guns for Fields and Moore, Chase Claypool and Darnell Mooney. Jackson Smith-Njigba is the best wideout in this draft class, and he's someone who could be game for the Bears at number 9. Smith-Njigba is a former teammate of Fields, and it's never a bad idea to add more weapons to your quarterback. But if a key prospect in the trenches is also on the line, it's hard to see Chicago going with Smith-Njigba. Tight finish, Michael Mayer, Notre Dame. Speaking of weapons on offense, Chicago is in a good position going into the 2023 season with Cole Kmet and Robert Tonyan, a pair of tight ends in the city. When looking at this draft class, it's hard not to imagine what this Bears offense would look like with another Chicago product in Notre Dame's Michael Mayer, who is considered one of the best tight end prospects in this class. He's the most complete tight end in the draft, with great hands and solid blocking. Although Mayer slipped in the draft, he is still a projected first-round selection who is unlikely to be in the game for the Bears. Offensive tackle, Paris Johnson Jr., Ohio State. The Bears have a tackle gap, which they will likely address with the 9th overall pick. Paris Johnson, Fields' former teammate at Ohio State, could be the man. Johnson looks like the franchise's 6-foot, 310-pound left tackle, and he could very well be the franchise's first tackle off the board. He's reliable at both run blocking and pass protection, and it's hard to imagine he wouldn't be Chicago's number 9 pick if he's still on the board. If the Bears drafted him, it would likely mean Braxton Jones would move to right tackle. Interior offensive line, John Michael Schmitz, Minnesota. While tackling is the biggest need on the offensive line, Chicago can certainly improve at the center position. John Michael Schmitz raised his draft stock during this pre-draft process and is arguably the best center prospect in this class. Schmitz is the complete package. He moves people in the running game and is strong in pass protection. Schmitz is a plug-and-play center that would greatly elevate the Bears' offensive line. But he's unlikely to be in the game for Chicago, as he's expected to be a first-round selection. Defensive offensive, Jalen Carter, Georgia. The Bears need a disruptive 3 technique to beef up Matt Eberflus' defense, and it's a deep defensive strike group. But Jalen Carter is arguably the best defensive player in this draft. Carter was once considered the top prospect in this draft class, but his stock has dropped following off-the-field issues and his poor professional performance. There are a few teams that have reportedly knocked him off the draft board. Chicago recently hosted Carter for a visit to the top 30 to do their due diligence and determine if they're willing to take a chance on him. If Carter falls to the Bears at number 9, there's a good chance they'll take it. Edge rusher, Tyree Wilson, Texas Tech. Chicago had the worst passing in the NFL, totaling just 20 sacks in 17 games last season. Tyree Wilson is one of the best drivers in the draft, and his mix of size and athleticism will make it difficult for teams to pass him in the top 10. There's no guarantee that Wilson will still be on the board when Chicago makes its pick at number 9. But he is someone who would be an option for them if he drops, as he is a game disruptor that this defensive line has been missing. When Eberflus was asked what he looks for in a defensive forward, he pointed to big, long and fast. Wilson certainly fits the bill and would serve as an immediate upgrade along a defensive line that was the worst in the league last season. Linebacker, Jack Campbell, Iowa. The Bears don't need a linebacker after the free agency additions of Tremaine Edmonds and T.J. Edwards. But if they did, Iowa's Jack Campbell would be a great fit for Chicago. Campbell won the Butkus Award last season as the nation's top linebacker after totaling 125 tackles and 2 interceptions with the Hawkeyes. He is considered one of the few true off-ball linebackers in this draft, and after his impressive 2022 season, some believe he could be a first-round pick. Campbell has a good mix of size and athleticism, as well as the instincts to be a great NFL-level linebacker. Cornerback, Devin Witherspoon, Illinois. Chicago's biggest defensive needs are on the defensive line, but cornerback is also a position that needs to be addressed in the draft. The Bears need another starter to join Jalen Johnson and Kyler Gordon in the defensive backfield, and Devin Witherspoon would be the dream addition. Witherspoon thrives in man-to-man coverage, where he brings physicality as a defender and knows how to make plays on the ball. He would be a good complement to Johnson and Gordon and would free up Gordon to play the slot machine exclusively. Depending on how the board goes down, the Bears could find themselves in a position to pick the best cornerback in this class, 9th overall. Security, Brian Branch, Alabama. The Bears have their starting safety duo in Eddie Jackson and Jaquan Brisker, so safety is far from a pressing need on defense this season. Brian Branch is the consensus top security in this draft class, and he's too versatile not to go in the first round. Branch is an elite tackler with a good mix of physicality and athleticism that would help elevate any defensive backfield. While Branch is a great addition to Chicago's defense, they have a lot of needs to meet early in the draft and won't be in a position to sign him. Expert, Jake Moody, Michigan. Special teams are not a necessity for Chicago this offseason as the trio of Cairo Santos, Trenton Gill, and Patrick Scales return. But Santos is entering the final year of his contract, and the Pole must be thinking about his future as a kicker. Jake Moody could very well be the first kicker chosen. Moody has a big leg and has been grabbed in winning situations. He has experience braving the elements during his time at Michigan, which can help ease the transition to Soldier Field.